Hello, welcome. This is just a short video that I'm going to go through on the process I use to make my sound effects throughout the development of Colab. So sound effects I did throughout week 5 and 6, essentially spending quite a while doing these. I think I've ended up with around 40 to 50 different sound effects that I worked on. That also includes 8 to 9 soundtracks which were done during week 1 and 2. So, to basically start off, I would use SoundSnap to as a base for my sound effects, as I'm not really a sound expert, and I've never really made sound effects, so this was a new experience for me. So I think I spent the first week essentially learning Audition to the best of my ability and basically playing around with it to see what interesting results I could get. So to start off, I've downloaded the Bengal Tiger purring Growl 17 Sonal for the sake of the example, which is already in Audition, which is a great software for sound stuff. So I prefer to use essentially the multi-track. Of course you can use waveform, but for the sake of stacking sound effects on top of each other to try create something coherent and more unique, I tend to use more the multi-tracks area than anything within the week that I've played around with it. But I have used waveform. So to start off with, this is the default sound effect. As you can see, just a very default growl, nothing too special. Now, stuff you can do to play around with it, essentially you can do this to stretch it as far as you want, which essentially, gosh, I did not want to do that, that's going to be really loud. Anyway, this essentially stretches the sound effect, allowing for some very stretched results. You can also do the opposite, where you can absolutely shrink it down to nothing, which would do something like that. Now, as you can hear, very stretched. I'm going to keep it on the lower end. We'll keep it like that. Now there's different things you can do in terms of changing decibels and audio. So obviously we've got this little thing in the bottom, this little chart of the sound effect itself. If you really crank that up, it's going to be really loud. Crank it down, it's going to be really quiet. For the sake of this example, I'm just going to increase it a little bit. So as you can already tell, much louder than what it was last time. I'm not going to change it much more. Here, same thing. Now this one to the right of this is essentially the balance in your headphones. If you send it too far to the left side will hear it much better. Same thing with the right side, send it too far to the right, essentially does the same thing. Now for the sake of the sound effects, I didn't edit this at all for the most part, as I wanted a fair balance from both earpieces. Now, moving on to some actual sound effects. For the most part, I would kind of stick to the pitch shifter. This I kind of went back to a lot of the time. I just found it a lot better to edit the pitch. So of course we have this, which is quite a deep sound. Now I can crank up the semitones to 12 on the far right side, which increases the high pitch. Very interesting result, completely different. Now if I do it the other way around, it'll be much deeper. So for the sake of the example, compared to the original, that's what we'll do. Now, you can add an echo. Personally, unless you know what you're doing with echoes, which I personally do not, I would stay away from them when you're a new user. Very annoying to use and can often cause headaches, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really mess around with the filter for the graphic equalizer. I messed around a bit with the special, a little bit with stereo stuff, reverb, noise reduction, and modulation. I kind of played around with these to see what I would get. So for instance, I could go into mastering, and this basically allows me to change what the sounds like. So I could go take this, and now the sound effect sounds. So yeah, very interesting. It sounds much more different than what it was originally now. So it's a interesting result. I kind of like the mastering saying, kind of cool. Allows you to play around with it. Now, Guitar Suite, I didn't really use this much, but you can get some interesting results. Let's go with bandpass and then talkbox A. So that didn't actually change anything much. I'm just going to throw a bunch of sound effects and see what we get. So, modulation, I'm going to add a little bit of a chorus thing. Gosh, that was very unpleasant. Now, as you can see, once you start messing around with some of these features, like the spread, it really can get some really painful results. What about if I do this? Okay, we'll leave it at that. I'm not going to mess around too much with chorus. Now, noise reduction, we're going to add a bit of a denoise. Okay, we're going to leave it there. I'm not going to edit this too much because we are moving towards 10 minutes and I kind of don't want to get it to that stage. Now, I'm going to just throw in the default version. So as you can tell, it's a very different sounding effect now from the original. Like, the core structure is still there, but it's still very different. For the sake of the example, I'm going to use the night scene that I created. I've got a bunch of these sound effects. I think I've got 44 sound effects, maybe closer to 50 at this point. And basically, with all this, I managed to get some really interesting effects. So this night scene is personally one of my favorites. I've managed to get like a very accurate night segment with thunder, lightning, waves hitting rocks, and basically rain for like a thunderstorm effect, which would be added to the night segment of the gameplay. So yeah, this is my personal favourite sound effect that I kind of worked on. I think it came out really well, quite accurate to what I wanted. Now, basically the same structure was used for all the sound effects, trying to play around with them. Also Brandon, who is another designer, was also working on sound effects with me. He did the other one, so Brandon Smith, he also did sound effects and did pretty a very similar structure to what I have. So when it comes to marking his work, of course, because I'm not sure if he's going to do a video of this, basically, this is the structure we both used, essentially, playing around with the sound effects. Not always using SoundSnap, also trying to just make unique sound effects ourselves. However, for the most part, SoundSnap was the basis for this. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the forums in future videos when I come to post the rest of my work. Bye bye for now.